G'day guys, what we're going to do today is talk about the relevance of these in 2024. Now, with Starlink coming on board in the last couple of years, it's been an absolute game changer where you can, connect to the internet and make phone calls basically anywhere in the world, but it does come at a cost. Now, recently Starlink put their price up to $195 a month, but it did include in-motion use, and it's quite expensive. Now, in comparison to this is a NetGear modem. This is an M6 Pro. And we've got this on the Telstra network, and we're able to add a $10 SIM card to this to our mobile phone plan, and we've got data that we're actually able to bundle together with all our mobile phones and use it. So this, I think, is still relevant, definitely for those people that are infrequent campers. But what I've got is a couple of tricks up my sleeve on how to actually improve these to make your off-grid connectivity experience a little bit better. First thing you want to do is grab yourself a good quality mobile modem. Now this one here is a NetGear M6 Pro. Now this one retails for about $800 or thereabouts-ish, so it is pretty expensive. However, if you jump online to Facebook Marketplace or Gumtree like that, you can generally pick these up for less than half price because people are making the move to Starlink and they want to get rid of their mobile modems. Alright, so tip number 2 is go over to the App Store or Google Play Store and download this app right here. It's called OusPhoneTowers. Now this is an invaluable resource in identifying where the actual phone towers are. Not only does it show you its location, but it also shows you what's available. So if it's 3G, 4G or 5G, but it also shows you the bandwidth of each of those networks. Also, it shows you a heat map and shows you actually the reception area of that particular tower. Alright, so tip number 3 is grab yourself a directional antenna. Now, the reason why you need a directional antenna is so that you can focus in on those phone towers. Typically with these devices, they have an omnidirectional antenna. So basically, if you can imagine a big circle sort of around this device, that's what an omnidirectional antenna is. Whereas a directional antenna actually has a narrower beam, and then you can actually focus the actual reception in on a particular path. Now, typically the target range of when you want to use a directional antenna is generally that sort of 1 to sort of 3 bar range, and that's when you increase the reception quite dramatically. Typically if you've got 0 reception on the device, you're not going to see really any improvement. However, on the other end of the scale, if you've got 5 bars of reception on this device without any external antenna plugged in, it's probably not going to do too much for your download speed. However, in my experience, I've actually increased the actual upload speed by about 20 to 30%. So the antenna that I'm using is a Maxwell antenna, and it's provided to me by RFOutlet. I've had some really good results with it, and I've actually permanently installed it onto my caravan. I actually removed my WineGuard antenna, so the one that sort of folds up and down on the actual pole, and I've actually removed that antenna, and I've actually mounted the panel antenna onto that pole. Now, generally, what you want to do is when you're actually positioning an antenna, you want to put it so that it's sort of free from obstruction. So being up on the roof, which is around about 3 meters high, gets me up and above most of those sort of obstructions, and I can actually utilize my WineGuard antenna base to actually pivot and direction my antenna. Alright, so here's the NetGear here, all installed. It's just Velcroed to the wall. We move this between the caravan and the car sort of all the time, just depending on what we're doing and where we're sort of traveling. And then the actual cables for the antenna run from the antenna on the mast, coming down through a waterproof gland in the ceiling here, and then down, and then they plug in to the NetGear here. Now, it's important that you grab the right connectors. The RFOutlet sell kits specifically that will match the actual NetGear Pro, or they do have other kits that are available for different mobile modems. The actual third lead here is just a USB-C where it's powered through a USB socket. Alright, so as I previously discussed, I mounted my antenna head to the actual WineGuard mast. Now I think this just gives me the ultimate flexibility and simplicity of setting the device up. Simply when I get to camp, I'll wind the antenna up, I get it all the way to the up position, and then I can then rotate this head depending on where that phone tower is, and I just think it's the ultimate setup. Alright, so what I'm going to do is show you a real world test that I conducted, and it actually shows the benefit of using a directional antenna. Now, I actually used my iPhone 14 Pro as the test source, and then we did our first speed test, and it was connected to a 5G network with 2 bars of reception. So typically you'd expect pretty good results. Well, we got 13.8 megabits download and 5.5 upload, So not a bad result. Probably wouldn't stream too well. Next test we did was then connect the iPhone 14 up to the NetGear and did another download test. So only using the internal antenna inside the NetGear, and we got 41.2 download and 10.4 upload. So pretty remarkable result just by connecting it to the NetGear. However, the next test is where things start to completely change. Is that we then connected the directional antenna and pointed it to the phone tower, and we got 144 megabits download and 9.59 upload. So we more than tripled our download speeds just by using a directional antenna. And I think this is where those people that don't really want to go to Starlink but want to still maintain a good reception in those sort of areas where mobile phones towers still exist, this is definitely an option that you should be considering. All right, so what are my final thoughts? I think that mobile routers paired up with a directional antenna are still relevant in 2024. Not everyone wants to go out and spend $195 a month on Starlink, especially if you're not going to be traveling full time and you're not going to get the use out of it. It's big bucks. As I said, these are a $10 SIM card that we add to our mobile phone plan, and then we're actually able to share the data from our mobile phones, and we've got like 250 gig each or something on our phones. So 500 gig of data. We're definitely not going to go through that much when we're sort of camping, but it gives us the I suppose the benefit or the flexibility of being able to achieve high download speeds and good reception when we're away camping. Now what I've done is I've teamed up with the guys at RFOutlet to give you guys a discount. The units retail for about $199. However, if you enter the code word GetCampingOz5 at checkout, that's going to get you 5% off. So that's about a $10 saving. Anyway, guys, if you've got any questions or comments, and drop them down below. I'll endeavour to answer them. And if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. It really helps the channel out. Until next time, get out there, get camping. I'll talk to you soon.